Hello everyone! Are you losing sleep at night? Worrying about how to secure your PR in Canada? I was in your shoes just a few months ago, and I know how frustrating it is to be on a temporary resident status, especially with all the unpredictable changes of Canada's immigration policies. So I'm Anne. I am a Vietnamese living in Edmonton, Canada. I came to Canada 2 years ago as an international student, and I have just got my PR recently, even before I finished my study here in Canada. Wanna know how? So let's get started. Ta-da! French is the game changer. I actually opened my Express Entry profile in January this year, and I received an invitation on the 1st of February. And I got my PR confirmation in just 3 months and a half. And the key to my success was qualifying for the French-speaking proficiency stream for foreign workers. So again, French was the game changer, especially when the cut-off score is much lower compared to the other streams. And if you type French-speaking immigration to Canada into Google, you will find plenty of information about how the Canadian government is actively encouraging Francophones to immigrate. They are making it easier for French speakers to become permanent residents, and they will continue to prioritize this pathway. And when I posted about my timeline on a social media group, like Facebook, Canada Express Entry, many of you have been interested in and asking me about how I study French and if I have any tips to share with you about passing the French test. So in today's video, I'm gonna share with you about this topic. To get started, let's have a look at the questions that I received. Hello, congratulations on your PR. I just want to ask how you learned French. Did you start from scratch? Hope you can share. And I am looking at this category too. Currently, I am learning French, but it's hard. Thank you. Of course, it is hard. Another question is, hi Anne, I was inspired by your PR journey in Canada Express Entry Facebook group. Could I ask, where did you study French here in Canada? That's a good question. And the third question is that, hi Anne, I hope you are fine. Can you offer me tips for clearing French exam? So, to answer the previous questions, I will talk about the 3 topics. The first one, I will talk about the eligibility for French speaking proficiency. Then I will talk to you about how to study French. And finally, I will talk to you about how to clear the French exam. And who qualifies for French language proficiency express entry? According to IRCC, to qualify for this category, you must have the French language test result that show a minimum score of 7 in all the 4 language abilities on the NCLC, Niveau de compétence linguistique canadien. And remember, your French level is not the only criteria for you to get the invitation for PR, because of course you need to open a normal Express Entry profile, and to open the Express Entry profile you will need to satisfy the requirement about age, about education, about previous work experience inside Canada or outside Canada, and you will get a certain CRS point. And as you see, there are many categories for draw for Express Entry. For example, with the general draw, we will need more than 500 points to get invitation. But for the French language proficiency, we need much less than that. So this is really an advantage. In the last part of this video, I will talk to you more in details about the structure of the test. But right here, just for you to have an idea about what kind of French test that I got. Because when we talk about the French exams, we talk about two kinds, TCF and TEF, or I call it right here TEF. And even for TEF, there are many kinds of TEF examinations, like the TEF for citizenship, the TEF for Quebec, and in this case, I got the test for immigration to Canada. And you can see right here, we have the test of 4 skills, just like IELTS. It includes the speaking, writing, speaking, listening. Basically, it's just like that. And then you may be wondering, how much do you need to get to reach level 7 for each skill? So let's have a look at this table. For the French exam, they will give you different points for different skills. Look at this table. Horizontally, we have the level from 4 to 10. And what we need to get right here is level 7 that I highlight in red. And vertically, you will see, for instance, with the compréhension écrite, the reading, you will need to score from 207 points to 232 points to reach the level 7. And then for the writing, you will need to get from 310 minimum to get level 7. For the listening, you will need to reach like 249 minimum to reach level 7. And for the speaking, you will need to get minimum 310 points to reach the number 7. And remember, the skills which is most tricky is the listening skill. Even right here, you only need to reach like 249 points, but it's very difficult. Sometimes people get 248 and they fail to submit to the French speaking proficiency, because they only have like level 6 for one skill and they have to pass the test again. So just to have an idea about how much point you need to get for the test. Also, many of you have been asking me if I studied French from scratch, and where do I study French in Canada, and how long it will take for you to reach that level of French from scratch. So to share with you, I didn't study French from scratch, and I didn't study French in Canada. I studied French in my home country, in Vietnam, very long time ago, and I spent like 4 years in the university to study French linguistics and literature. So that's something I studied a long time ago. And I also lived in France for 4 years. So when I'm in Canada, I didn't study French here in Canada, but I do go to some French speaking clubs to practice my French, and that's all. So many of you are impatient to submit your express entry profile to get selected and get invitation as soon as you can, because we know how hard it is to wait for the PR status, right? And you want to study French as quick as possible. But in my opinion, just imagine how long did it take you to get to your current level of English. Like you get the IELTS 7, I don't know, but how long did it take you to reach this level? It must be a long time, right? However, I can share that if you would like to study French from scratch and obtain the level 7 for French language proficiency. It's possible, but it will probably take you around 600 hours of very serious study to master some French and have the sufficient skills to get the French test. And so, what does it look like for 600 hours of study? So imagine if you can spend 3 hours a day to study French. After 200 days, you will achieve like 600 hours of studying, and by that moment you will get the basic knowledge about French and up to the level that you can pass the TEF examination. And if there are days you are busy and if you can only spend like 1 to 2 hours a day to study French, it will take you longer. And of course we will need to practice the speaking skill, and also we need to practice the passive listening to pass the listening test easier. So I think at least it will take you a year to get there. Now let's go to the second part and talk about how to study French. For now, you may question, where do I begin if I start from scratch? And among a lot of material, you will not know which book should you start, which online courses should you start, which school should you go to, what should you buy to start learning French, and where you should start. From speaking first to get familiar to the sound, or studying grammar first. So where should you begin? I think you, like many of my friends, choose to begin by studying French from Duolingo, and you start to collect vocabulary and learn the sound, the words, everything by Duolingo. And I also find some friends looking for private tutor, and the private tutor may be very good at French, but being good at French and being able to pass the test is two different stories. And some of you have been choosing like the online classes, like they guarantee that you will get to level A, B, A1, A2 or B1, B2 within a certain period of time. So these are on the good way to study French. However, from my personal experience, I think you should be focused on what you study because you don't have a lot of time to get the NCLC 7 in French. You need to get the certificate to apply for the French speaking proficiency as soon as possible, right? Because after a year you will get less point in age, so is it really urgent? So don't waste your time studying aimlessly with a lot of materials around you. You don't know when you will reach that level or if you can pass the test. So to tell you my story, when I was 16, I started studying French by going to school 3 times a week, following a syllabus and progressing through lessons. However, after 2 years, I felt like I only knew very basic things. They taught me vocabulary and how to listen to understand simple conversations. I continue studying to enrich my vocabulary, build my grammar, and become familiar with French. But still, I felt like I knew nothing until I go to university. At university, I was in a rush to catch up with the other students within a year because they study French when they was like 10 years old, much longer before me, and I had to be in a pressure to reach their level within the shortest time. So from that moment, I studied day and night, spending 7 to 9 hours a day studying French intensively. And after a year, I made a lot of progress. Honestly, the key is I had to pass many tests during my first year at university, which allowed me to measure my French proficiency and identify exactly where I needed to improve. So this is the approach that you should take with the TEF examination. If you are still unsure about where to study French physically in Canada or even outside of Canada, I would recommend the Alliance Française because they are around the world. Whenever you are, you can find an Alliance Française. Like if you are in Edmonton, you look for Alliance Française Edmonton and you will see where they are located. By the same token, you look for Alliance Française Vancouver or Alliance Française Toronto, you will find that. And even in my home country, I look for Alliance Française Hanoi, I will see where they are located. And before, when I was in France, and I would like to improve my French proficiency, my colleges recommended me to go to Alliance Française in Paris to improve my French level. We recommend Alliance Française because they are really official and they have a well-trained French teachers, so the methods that they teach is guaranteed. Additionally, consider buying an online course from prepmyfuture.com to practice the exam as much as possible, because when it comes to the real French exams, it will be like the structure in Prep My Future. So it is really essential for improving your French proficiency, especially if your goal is to achieve the language requirement for permanent residency via the express entry French speaking proficiency. So I will walk you through how to look for Prep My Future from Google. Here you just need to type Prep My Future. And then it will lead you to the official page of Prep My Future here. You click and then you scroll down to the end of the page and you will see for online courses, French, they have you few options like TEF, TCF, DEF or DFB, and what you need to care about is the TEF. I don't recommend TCF because later when they send out the certificate, you need to receive the hard copy, but for the TEF proficiency, they can send the online certificate and you can use that easily to apply for the French speaking proficiency just via the portal. And with the TEF, the fee is around 69 euro to get the online course for around 1 year in one single payment, and within a year you can practice a lot. And back to the question about the study materials for the French exams. Here, for my case, 90% of my study materials are from the prepmyfuture.com, the online platform that I have just introduced with you. And 10% of the material I get from other sources. So I will talk to you in more details about how I use the materials in Prep My Future. And then I will introduce to you other resources that I found online. So now I will show you how the Prep My Future platform look like when we have one. This is my account. I log in my account and I will see Prep My Future with the tab right here for program, lesson activities, tests, and statistics. And the study material that I get is from the lessons and activities. Besides that, you can look into this section first, the program, and they will explain to you what the TEP Canada is all about. And here, when I introduce the platform to my friends as a primary resource for studying French, some are concerned about their comprehension issues. It means that you will not be able to understand French immediately because you are the beginner. But no worry, with the Prep My Future, they will have the translation in English for those who need to understand more thoroughly the content that they are showing here. So just go with me right here about Le TEF Canada c'est quoi. I will access this part and you will see right here the translation on the right hand side of the screen, and here you see French, and here you can click to English, and they will explain to you what is the TEF. So this is an English explanation, and not only in this part, but along the content of the online courses. You do everything. You learn grammar, you learn about the questions, Q&A, everything. They have the translation, so it's really convenient. So you can understand from English about what is the TEF. And right here, we can go to lesson and activities, leçons et activités. Here, this is my primary resource to study French, because I am very result oriented. I want to pass the test, and that's my goal. So I really like this platform. Right here, we can see different skills to be sharpened, just like this one. Prep my TEF, preparing for my French speaking exam. This part is the compréhension écrite. It means the reading, and you can practice the reading skills right here. And this is for the compréhension orale. You can practice a lot for the listening test. Lexique et structure is about the grammatical parts, and for the how to structure a sentence. Expression écrite is to practice about the writing skill. Expression orale, they will give you the topic to speak in the speaking class. And here for the grammar, they will explain very detailed about what we need to master for the French exam. Because if you want to be an expert in French language and have like a native speaker level, it takes time. And don't be surprised when I went to the French examination in Edmonton. On that day, there are 3 French who were in the exam with me. It means that they were born in France. They speak French for their whole life, and they are 100% French, but they still need to pass the French proficiency test to be able to apply for the permanent residency in Canada. Because without the proof, they are not sure if the native French speaker can master the 4 skills in French language or not. It's quite funny, but it's the case. So here also about the vocabulary by theme, so you can study in details about each of the section. So I will just try to show you what it is all about in a glance. For the compréhension écrite, just like the reading, I hit into details, so they will list out what they have here for you to study. And if I click into the grammar, this is important, and they will list out on the important grammar points that you need to learn, like the article, the pronouns, about the comparison, about how to conjugate the verbs, how to use the tenses like the future, the subjunctive, the conditional, the imperfect, etc. So if we click into this one, like the article, that's the very simple part of grammar in French, and you will see right here. They list out what you need to understand, and if you don't understand yet the content in French, just click here for English, and you will see the explanation in English to help you understand exactly what it is about. And by this way, you can study French from this material, and they are prepared particularly for the candidates who need to pass the TEF exam for the purpose of immigration. So that's my shortcut. And as previously mentioned, the other 10% of my study material I get from other free resources online. The first one is the Division Month. It's very simple. You type TV5 Monde, MONDE, and you will find out like a program which will give you free learning material for the French language, and it starts from the beginner level to the intermediary level and to the advanced level. So you can click into each section and see what it is inside. Basically, you will be able to build up your vocabulary and have a lot of exercise to do. But again, I will have to say that for the Prep My Future, it will focus primarily on the type of exercise we will need to pass within the test. So I would prefer the Prep My Future first, and if you don't know something, you can look up into free material like this one. Another free resources that I would like to introduce is the françaisauthentique.com. I will again leave the link in the description so that you can open it. Why do I like this page? Because the teacher, he gives free courses if you subscribe to his email, and every day he send me something that I find interesting to learn, and he also gives the option for you to pay and learn his online classes, and I think this is a really good class. And even here, if you don't know yet your French level, you can start with the level test, and you know where to go next if you would like to enroll for his classes. So for me, I only use the free resources first, and I honestly don't have time to follow the other classes. And the last one I would like to introduce to you is the Natalie Fleur, FLE. It means Français comme langue étrangère, French as a second language. Here I like this page because when I was in Paris, I feel like they speak a lot of slang, and I can hardly understand, and I followed this page because she gave me the tips to speak French naturally like the native speaker. So there are more than that, of course, but I think this is a very good resource, and especially when it's free, we can download a lot of free material from this page. And just like the other pages, if you subscribe on the email, you will be able to receive the free resources from your mailbox. It is all in French, but I think you will have the option to make them translated into English when you open the page from the Google Chrome. Here you will see right here, she will give something for free, and she will also sell the advanced material for a fee, but normally they are not very expensive. And they also have the program in group. And voila! I have come to the last part of this sharing. So now I will talk to you about how to clear the French exam. Of course, you will need to book the French examination at the nearest test center in your city. When we are in Canada, it is way easier to book a test because many immigrants are looking to pass it for various purposes, such as getting citizenship or needing it for work. So, on the day of the test, you will be surprised to find native French speakers in the same exam room with you, just like me. This is because native French speakers in Canada also need to apply for permanent residency, and they are not exempt from the French language proficiency test because this is Canada. So at this moment, what you know, and what you don't. Just go ahead and sit the exam. And just one thing I didn't mention before, the fee for the test in Canada is 390 Canadian dollars. So I think it's the same in euro or in US dollar in the country you book the test. So if we have to retake the test, it can really be expensive, right? And here is the summary for your information. We will need to complete the test within 3 hours for the 3 skills: reading, writing, and listening. And for the last module, we have 15 minutes for the speaking test. And for more details, for reading exam, you will have 1 hour to resolve 40 questions. The same for listening. And for writing, you have 60 hours to write about 2 different topics. And for the speaking, it only takes you 15 minutes. So on the day of the test, you will need to prepare like 3 hours of high concentration to sit the exam. And once you finish the speaking test, you can go home and wait for the result. I remember receiving the result in less than 48 hours or within 2 days in my mailbox. It's pretty quick. For the French proficiency test, as mentioned before, I will choose to pass the TEF instead of the TCF because the structure of the test is simpler. So just like the IELTS test that you used to take in English, the TEF includes 4 modules: the reading, the listening, writing, and speaking. So now I will give you the tips for each part, and based on my experience, because I passed the test already, so I can have some tips to share with you. And we will get back to the Prep My Future platform, where we can see a lot of examples of the test. Now I will show you some examples of how the reading questions look like. This is the first question, and it's very easy. Like they give you a piece of information. You can guess some keywords like banana, here is banana, and then natural 1 kilo, 4 to 6 persons, and then they will give us a few options for answer. Like this information is about a piece of clothes, about medication, about a ticket, or about a food product. And you can guess just like banana and 1 kilo, and you can guess this is a food product. So I will choose option D and I will valid. Then it will lead me to the second questions. Like this one, perhaps you don't know much, but you can guess. Like Chevrolet is about a car, the price is 16,000 something, and the color is black. And then you have 4 options to choose what it is about. Is it about a school, about a job, about a food product, or about a vehicle? So it's easy to guess, like D, a vehicle, and I valid. And this is how you can use the Prep My Future when you practice for the test. Just like this part, reading. After you finish the 40 questions, you can go to the correction, corriger, right here. Note and then correction and class mode, but I'm talking about the correction. And you will see right here, just for the first question that we have just talked about, they have the explanation in French. And here in autre langue, it means other language, and you will see the explanation of the option A, B, C, and D, like a piece of clothing, a medicine, a receipt, a food product, something as I mentioned before, and you will understand why they choose the option D as the correct option. And here we can see the level of difficulty of each question. So this is very easy, and it only 0.5 star. For the question number 2 is the level of difficulty is 1 star right here. And same, we can see the explanation in French and in English. However, in the later questions, like from this, I will choose one difficult question of 3.5 star level as level of difficulty. So we don't see the explanation in other language anymore. Just here they will give us the very brief explanation in French. Like this one, they will give us the 4 courses, and each courses will explain details about what it is about. And here they will ask us like which course is for the management of a team, right? Here you will need to choose the right option, and it's more difficult because you have more to read and compare the content. So that's the way it is. And until the question number 40, like level 4.5 star, so it would be the most difficult. My tips for the reading part is about the timing. Calculate the time. You have 60 minutes to answer 40 questions. It means that for each question you will have in average 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds. For me, for the first 20 questions, these are the easy questions, so I will spend maximum 20 minutes to answer. For the next 10 questions, I will spend maximum 50 minutes because the level of difficulty may increase already, but the level of difficulty is medium. They are not very difficult. However, for the next 5 questions, I mean from the question 31 to 35, they usually are often difficult. We will need to read longer text and need to understand the tricky points to find out which is the most correct answer. So for 5 questions, just spend maximum 15 minutes. So in average 3 minutes for each difficult questions. And if you cannot find out, you cannot decide which one is the most correct answer, just answer randomly so that you can pass to the next question. Because the last part of the test, I don't know, it may be randomly from question 36 to 38. They could be very easy, and they may save the last 2 questions, like questions 39 to 40, to ask you something really you don't know, like an expression in French, and they ask you about the equivalent. What does it mean for the expression in French? And you may not know. So try to answer what you can, and if you cannot decide, just go quickly and don't spend too much time pondering on one question, and try to save the last 5 minutes for review. So for this part, it's about enriching your vocabulary, read a lot, and when it comes to the test, calculate the time. It's about the timing. Let's go next to the listening part. Same as the previous, I will show you some example of how the listening test look like. So this is the example of the first question. Like this one, you will see the 4 images, and they will read something, and you will need to answer the questions. So like this.
Salut Erika, tu vas au travail à vélo?
Oui, c'est plus écologique et ça fait faire du sport. Salut Karl, pour les prochaines vacances, tu restes en ville?
Oui, je veux découvrir tous les quartiers, les bâtiments, les monuments.
For the listening tips, first, take notes, because they may speak very fast and you may not catch the idea. So just take some keywords down, and later you can review and you guess the meaning and find out an appropriate answer for the questions. But in order to do good the listening, we need to practice a lot, really a lot. So you may find a lot of materials for practicing, and it's very important to understand very quickly and get familiar with the pronunciation, even the French or the Canadian French. Just get yourself familiar with the sound, the pronunciation, and understand what they really mean. Now let's move to the third part of the test, the writing. In French, it's called expression écrite, and I will go back to Prep My Future page right here, and you can see that there are two sections in the writing test, and I show you one example. This is the section A, and they will give you like the opening part of an article, and they will ask you to complete the article with 80 words and in many paragraphs. So this is an example. And for the section B, they will normally ask you to write 3 arguments to express your point of view in certain issues, just like this one, and you will need to write around 200 words minimum. It means that you can write much more than that if you have time. So they will give you the space so that you can type right here and submit when you are done. And how did I prepare for the writing part? My tips is to use the ChatGPT. It's very convenient because we don't really know how to write correctly, but ChatGPT does. And then the second tip is to learn by heart some connection words, sentences, and structures. So now I will show you an example of how I use ChatGPT to train myself for the writing skills. In order to use ChatGPT, I will need to create a prompt, and you will see here in Prep My Future, for section A or section B, we cannot copy the content. We can't. So that's why we need to rewrite the content and then ask that question to ChatGPT. And for me, I don't want to rewrite. It takes time. So the first website I use is Speech to Text. With this one, I will choose French. Right here, I choose French already, and they have a lot of languages as you see. But I will use French right here, and I read the content of the section A with the question and with the opening paragraph right here. And when I finish writing, I will copy and I will pass this one to ChatGPT like this, and then enter, and I will see what ChatGPT will give me. I asked ChatGPT to write 80 words to complete the article, and this is what they produce for me. So perfect, like this, perfect. They produce this paragraph, and I will use this one as an example. And there are some very good structure, and I will learn by heart so that I can enrich my vocabulary, my lexical structures knowledge, and by this way I will practice to rewrite this paragraph by myself. I can change the idea, I can change the way that we structure a sentence, but this is a very good example and how we can generate the idea for the writing test in French easier. So that's it, how I practice my writing. Before, like 5 or 6 years ago, I passed the French test once before I went to France for studying, and we didn't know ChatGPT at the moment. But right now we have AI, we have ChatGPT to support us to prepare for the writing, and I think it's really perfect. We gotta use AI even for this test. Last but not least, let's go to the speaking test. So I will show you some example of the speaking test. You can see right here, the speaking skills in French is expression orale. Where is it? Right here, expression orale. It will take 15 minutes and you will need to answer 2 questions. So I will start here. There are 2 sections, just like the writing skill. And for section A, they will give you 5 minutes, just like this one. The content is about cleaning the beach somewhere, and you look at the picture. This one, they advertise about the need for people to clean the beach area, and there are pictures, there are some information, and they have a phone number right here, and you will have like 1 minute, or I don't remember exactly, but you look at the picture, and then the examiner will be the one who create this advertisement, and you will give them a call and you ask around 10 to 12 questions within 5 minutes. So that's the first part of the speaking test. And then for the section B, you will have 10 minutes, and you will also have like a document with some main material and ideas, like this one. It is like a job advertisement, and you will speak to a French. They will have various information like the salary is attractive. They will give the training, and they will give the website, and they are looking for someone to do this kind of job. And your job is like talking to the examiner, and the examiner here is like your friend. He's looking for a job, and you say, oh, I find this job advertisement, it's really interesting, are you interested? And then you will talk to each other, and because you know more information, your friend who is now the examiner will ask you a lot of questions about that advertisement, and you will need to like convince them about certain activities. So it's you who need to answer the questions of the examiner. And like in the section A, the examiner will answer your questions, but like in the second part of the test, you will need to answer a lot of questions for the examiner. So it's like 2 ways. And about tips and advice for the speaking test, my advice for you is simple. Just try to speak a lot, talk a lot, and try to articulate and be familiar with the sounds, the vocabulary, etc. If you are able, try to join a French speaking club close to your area. Or you can also look for a private tutor, and you can ask the person to talk to you during an hour or 2, so that you are familiar with the language, and you will have the good reaction when it comes to certain situation. In my opinion, for the French speaking test, is much easier than the English speaking test, because the scenarios that you are going to deal with is around the daily conversations and about the daily scenarios, so your vocabulary could be very simple. And the key is that we will need to have a good and natural reaction when we interact with the examiner, and that's it. Have you ever heard about mylanguageexchange.com? It's a website for language learners to study a new language by exchanging their native language or the language that they are very fluent with another person who wish to learn language like themselves. So it's an online language exchange community with millions of members from hundreds of countries and practicing 169 languages. So of course, French is available. And whether you speak Vietnamese, Chinese, Arabic, German, English, whatever it is, just visit the website, get started, and find a French speaker who could help you practice. And the best part, it's free because you teach them your language in exchange. So it's a great platform for practicing French, and I highly recommend it. So, finally, this is the end. I have spent nearly an hour sharing with you about how to learn French and how it can help you secure your PR. So, what do you think? Are you feeling more hopeful about getting PR through the French language proficiency? Many people did it, and just remember, anything is possible. You don't have to be perfect to get there. And what matters is perseverance and never giving up on finding ways to get your PR. If you can learn French, it's a great option, at least for the next 5 years, because the government still needs more Francophone immigrants. I do really wish you get your PR real soon, and there's no more obstacles in your way. I wish you good luck with your French studies, and if you ever need help, please feel free to leave a comment on my YouTube video or message me to my Facebook page or Instagram page, Canada Journey with Anne. I would love to help because I had been in your shoes. It was really tough to get a PR. I was in France before, and after that, I needed to get back to Vietnam because of the COVID. And after the COVID, I came to Canada, and it's been 2 years now. And I start to see the light to get my PR with the French from June last year. And I tried my best to satisfy all the requirements to get there. And finally, I could get there. So you can. If I can, you can. It's really hard to move forward without a permanent residency. So keep on going. I hope I can do a little to help you to get there with all my sharing. So thank you for watching, and I wish you good luck with your PR. Keep on trying and you will get there soon. Bye for now.